Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's podcast. Our guest of today is Kieran, and he's the engagement director of Mozaic. Kieran, why don't you tell a little bit more about yourself and what your company is doing?
Thanks, Joe. What a pleasure to be with you this afternoon. So my name's Kieran Bayles. I'm an engagement director with Mozaic. As a company, we've been around for about 13 years, founded by two individuals who worked on either sides of large outsourcing deals and thought they could be done better. And they were the instrumental in the development of the service integration and management SIAM model some years ago. And so when they founded Mozaic, it was actually an acronym for SIAM Co. But since then, we've basically prioritized and specialized in operating model design and implementation. And we've done that for over 130 clients in the UK, some of the biggest public sector and private sector names that you would be aware of in your household. And we've expanded our services over that period of time. We have a really well-established ServiceNow implementation practice and a Halo ITSM implementation practice, having implemented at over 50 different clients for each of those platforms, as well as broadly offering advisory implementation and managed services across the full suite for our clients that we're really privileged to work with. And I'm also really pleased to say actually that this year we were acknowledged by consultancy.uk as a leading player in the IT strategy category for consulting, which for a boutique consultancy and a growing consultancy is a really exciting recognition.
Very nice. And what would you say about the client? You already said we already helped more than 130 clients just in the UK, right? And what would you say those clients would say what's unique about working with you guys?
I think that they would hopefully say that we are really deeply specialized in what we do, and we bring experts with a lot of experience to our engagements. We operate quite differently to a lot of consultancies in that we don't have the traditional graduate all the way through model. We have an awful lot of people in our company who are previously senior leaders in technology roles and other adjacent roles. So they bring with them that industry experience, but they're also working within a broader consultancy that's got excellent tools and assets and can bring an awful lot of value very quickly at a fraction of the price that you would expect to pay for some of the top end brands. We've got a great value proposition there.
Very nice. And I think it's good to know that what you guys are doing, it offers value, right? Because then once you're actually going into the market, you're building from a house, from your foundation, which is pretty solid, right? Yeah. And my question to you, how long have you been part of the company?
Yeah, so I've been with Mosaic for about 2 years, but my consulting career is about 18 years in total. So prior to joining Mosaic, I spent 16 years in the Big Four between the UK and Australia, working at Deloitte and PwC in various combinations. So before my last role, before I joined Mosaic, I was a partner at Deloitte in Australia in the technology strategy and transformation consulting practice, predominantly serving healthcare and public sector clients.
Very nice. So 18 years. You started working in this niche when I was 11 years old.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. I started as a graduate in the Big Four, and you get a great exposure to big clients and complex problems from a very early stage in your career. But it's nice to be in a smaller, more agile consultancy, working sort of directly to our CEO to help grow our business and work with our clients.
Do you feel once you're working for a little bit of a smaller consultancy, there's a difference in the type of challenges you are solving on a day-to-day basis?
We're solving very similar problems to those that I was working on in a past life. Ultimately, we're working with senior leaders across the business, often technology leaders, but not exclusively COOs, CEOs, CFOs, CHROs. So we're working with exec level stakeholders on their biggest, most complicated problems. And almost all of those today are underpinned by technology as a solution. Problems that we solve are very similar, but the problems that we experience the same theme, but slightly different because of our scale versus the juggernauts in the industry.
Talking about this experience which you had in these company for the last couple of years, which pops into your mind right now, the biggest kind of challenge you had to solve towards growing the company towards where it is right now?
One of the challenges with being a smaller consultancy is that you're far more susceptible to the tide of the day, to use the analogy of being a boat, smaller boats can be more impacted by a storm than an oil tanker. But at the same time, the flip side of that is that you're also much more quick to turn and much faster to accelerate with that same sort of risk of, for instance, having a handful of large clients that drive a good portion of your revenue. Well, in a large firm, that's never going to be the case. I mean, you'll have lots of pluses and minuses in any given year. So it's just a different type of problem. But at the same time, it means that you're really laser focused on what your client needs, what your client's problems are, and you don't have the issues of bureaucracy and kind of internal process and governance standing in the way of those things. You can really just get straight to helping your clients solve their problems, which is what most people, I would suggest, join consultancy to do. So it's a great place to be.
Yeah, I like what you're saying. So I really like the comparison with a boat, right? If you're a bigger boat, you might not be as impacted with the day-to-day stuff, but at the same time, there's way more potential if it's a smaller company, right? So although you may be impacted, it's way easier to adapt once you got impacted than if you're a bigger company. It's way harder because it just takes time before different structures come into the company, right?
What we've been trying to do over the last couple of years is really transform the business as we grow. And that in itself is a challenge. We've got the kinds of issues that any business would experience when they're growing, but you also need to make sure that you're continuing to deliver for your clients, and we're doing our very best to do that.
What are some of the ways how you guys are acquiring new customers at the moment?
We obviously put a good amount of effort into a business development more broadly within our senior team and also our broader consultant and associates networks. But we're also enjoying some great success with some of our partnerships. As a smaller consultancy, that's another way in which things can be a bit different from being in a larger firm. So, we've got a handful of really strategic relationships with other consultancies and other businesses that are really mutually beneficial. And so we're working with some managed service providers, we're working with some ITSM and ESM platforms, and I mentioned a couple of them earlier in ServiceNow and Halo. And we also have other alliances with AI, deeply technical AI services companies and others that are really deep into the data space as well. What's really exciting is that we know what we're really good at and we try and stay true to that. But when we know it's in our clients' benefit to partner with another organization, we can be really quick to do that. And we don't have to worry too much about the complexities of navigating governance to get that to happen. It's a CEO conversation. We make it happen. We get going. It's the pace is really strong.
I like that. And also what you're saying, choosing who you really want to work with, right? And just be honest enough. If someone's not an actual fit, boom, move them on. How to actually still provide them the best value you guys can, right?
Yeah.
And did you watch Lord of the Rings in the past?
I have done in the past, yeah.
Okay.
Where are you going with this one?
Yeah. It's gonna make sense. It's gonna make sense. So let's say Lord of the Rings, Gandalf, right? The guy with the gray beard. Let's say you can be Gandalf for one day.
All right.
For the company, right? And with Gandalf, you can hold this magic wand. And with this magic wand, you could solve any possible problem you guys might be having in a business. What kind of problem would you choose with this magic wand of Gandalf?
What would be is actually having a really seamless ability for our clients to procure us. I think that we do also have, all other consultancies will experience the same challenge, but we know we've got clients that really want to proceed with work and are having kind of delays and slowdowns in actually getting work approved for us to proceed with. If I could wave my magic wand and allow those clients that wanted to buy us to do it, that would be a great thing for them and for us.
Very nice. Just to speed up the whole process.
Yeah, I think so.
Nice. And then looking into the future, right? Maybe not with this magic wand, but just looking into the future. What are some goals you guys are having with Mozaic for the next, let's say, 6 to 12 months from now?
Well, I think our key partnerships are going to be really pivotal to our growth over the next couple of years. So I think doubling down on some of those really important partnerships, just to mention one of them, but our Halo is a really fascinating business. I don't know if you've come across them before, but they're a UK-based business. They have done some really creative marketing recently in Formula One, in darts and snooker, and they're really shaking up the enterprise service management platform space. And they're turning up at competitors' events with their own logos and branding. And they talk about doing their marketing on a shoestring so their customers are paying for product and not for marketing. They're a great bunch of guys. We're really enjoying working with them at the moment. And our partnership over the coming years is going to be a real core factor in in our growth and also theirs. We feel like we're all in it together, and they've got a really exciting product, and one that we're delighted to be able to advise on and implement for our clients when it's the right thing for them.
Very nice. And then talking about, because you have quite a bit of experience, what we talked about, right? 18 years into this niche. You've been here almost 2 decades, right? And also in different kind of companies, different sizes. And let's say there's a lot of founders watching this podcast right now. Let's say to these founders who are watching this podcast, you could give one piece of advice these founders can implement into their own company straight away after watching this podcast. What kind of advice would you give to these founders right now?
It's a good question, and I would caveat my response by saying I've got a great deal of respect for people that found businesses. I'm not one yet, and I see the huge sacrifices and stresses and strains that would come with that. Though from my ill-informed position, what I would say is that figuring out what makes you different and doubling down on that, and trying not to be all things to all people, and being really clear and crisp about what that small number of things is that you do better than anyone else, and making that your clear differentiator. That's what we're trying to do. We want to be the leading operating model consultancy in the UK and in time perhaps beyond. And we believe we're a long way towards that goal. But if you start to get distracted with other things, then the likelihood of getting there, I would say, is less. So that would be my advice, but I'm sure others would be far better placed to answer that question.
I think I'm doing a lot of podcasts. I think the advice is actually pretty solid, because once you're actually making yourself different, and I think also you have very clear values, what your company is standing for, there's a certain amount of people who feel attracted to your business, and there's a certain amount of people who don't feel attracted at all, right? So if you're really clear in what you're doing, and although it's very specific, you have very specific people who will really attract to what you guys are doing. I think it's a very solid advice.
Thank you.
And how can they, for the people who are watching the podcast, what are some of the ways they can connect either with you or the company Mozaic?
Sorry, again.
For the people who are watching this podcast, what are some of the ways they can connect either with you or the company?
Well, I mean, you can connect with me on LinkedIn, reasonably easy to find, and Mozaic itself, you can find us on www.mosaic.net. We've got a recently released new website, which is a revamp from my last one, and you'll see there the services that we offer. Great ways to contact us through LinkedIn and social media. And we'll be delighted to hear from anyone that's listening to the podcast. We're always really keen to expand our networks. As one thing that has been a really effective way of growing our business is just placing the importance of network at the heart of what we do. And that's people that you meet through all kinds of different conversations like this. One's at the pub, one's at the train station, one's in the office by the water cooler. Networking and the importance of that is huge, and would be delighted to connect with anyone that comes across this.
I love that. Kieran, thanks so much for being on the podcast, sharing all your value, talking about the company, talking about your own personal experience as well. For the people watching this podcast right now, I'm going to make sure to put the links of Kieran and the company down in the description below, so you can easily find it. Everyone, thanks for tuning in, and see you all in the next episode. Thank you, Kieran.
Thanks, bye.